I've already apologized to the parents over and over again. I don't apologize to you.
Objection,
don't apologize to you.
Attorney Norm Pattis called it strategic.
We thought it was vicious and uncalled for and gratuitous.
But at the same time, the plaintiff's attorneys called for a recess to determine how they'd orchestrate the rest of the day.
You think I could book that for like the weekend of the 14th when the soundtrack comes out? If so, bump somebody. All right, thanks. I love you, man. Bye. I got my MTV out. Savage! I'm a savage! Oh! I'm a savage! Whatever I want, I'm going to get! Whatever I want, I have to get!
And you're confident on these cases. You don't think you're going to be behind a defendant table throughout the entire campaign, crippled and unable to campaign?
You know, if I am, it's going to show what a fake deal it all is. It's all fake. It's all just fake stuff.
Do you want it televised?
In order to interfere with the election. This was election interference at the highest level.
One person responsible for this nightmare, and he's acknowledged and he brags about it, Donald Trump.
Chief White House correspondent Mary Bruce traveled with the president. Good morning, Mary.
2020 rape conviction against former media mogul Harvey Weinstein was thrown out by New York's highest court today.
Now to another big headline. Arizona's governor plans to sign a bill today repealing a 160-year-old abortion ban.
Hello, everybody. My name is Pastor Joshua Capilla. I'm an author. I'm a news anchor. I'm a writer. I'm a preacher. I do a lot of different things in my community. And you are here on the Patriot News Hour today, a very, very special podcast. First of all, I want to plug my 3 books. I have one book called The American Jesus, America's Quest to Redefine the Savior. And the title says it all. We have misinterpreted the scriptures, realigned them with a westernized methodology that has corrupted the gospel message. It has turned the gospel message into a prosperity message, which is anti-God and antithetical to what the true meaning of the gospel is about. The second book that I have published is called Comprehensive Crisis Guide for Ministry. This book is about therapeutic intervention, maladaptive behavior, and just how to live a general, overall, well-balanced life. My third book is called Alien Encounters. Yes, I'm a pastor. Yes, I'm a news anchor. Why would I write this book? So many Christians feel alienated and cannot ask the question of what do UAPs, UFOs, and alien biologics mean for my life, my faith, my destiny, my image. And I want to balance and ask these questions through a fictional story as well as academic settings is what I should say. So it's a methodology of using 2 different methods to basically answer questions to all of you. So you can buy them on paperback, you can buy them on Kindle, and I'm on Audible. So I ask that you support me, and there'll be a link in the description, and you buy these books. But welcome to the Patriot News Hour, and I want to talk about the political situation and the upheaval going on today. Let's talk about Donald J. Trump. He's talked for so long about being an anti-war candidate, that he wouldn't go to war, that he is the president of peace. From immigration to having ICE at the airports now, to people that have been dying, to no king's protest around the entire country. Now I get it. A lot of people supported Donald Trump, and that is their right as an American. But there are so many people jumping ship. President Donald Trump is going into the 60 percentile range of disapproval ratings to what he's done to the MAGA movement, to what he's done to Marjorie Taylor Greene. Anytime there's a disagreement, he assaults the person. And the habitual lying nature is totally 100% out of control. If you disagree with him, he will threaten to sue you, destroy you, obliterate you. And we have to understand that there are people on both sides, the right and the left, Remember, I'm an independent with conservative values. I believe once you dedicate your truth to the interpretation of a human being and that confirmation bias, they become an idol in your heart. You worship them and you can't see anything wrong. That is the definition of authoritarianism when you become that biased, because we don't have our ability to think anymore as American people. So I want to talk about the immigration, the ICE situation, the anti-war candidate. And what does that mean for us going into a month of this war, to 160 children being murdered by a Tomahawk missile being dropped on them? We have to bear some responsibilities. We have to understand certain truths. We're sending thousands of soldiers to Iran right now. And we are talking about a draft at the political level, about drafting human beings. And Iran said it would be nothing more than a Vietnam War. Once again, we're not ready for that as Americans. We don't want a super Afghanistan called Iran. We don't want a $1 to $3 trillion war that will never end. We don't want video games being intermingled with clips of death and bombings. War comes with a cost, ladies and gentlemen. So I want to play a clip stretching back to Donald Trump saying he's the anti-war president. He's against war. He's opposed to war. And he will vehemently stop wars. So before you judge this podcast, this situation, and this news broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to hear for yourself. So I only got one question. Are you ready?
Peace. People don't believe that.
A vote for Donald Trump is a vote for a man who wants to end wars, not start them.
We do not want war with Iran. We actually want peace. The Iranians are clearly not very good at war. Perhaps they should follow President Trump's lead and give peace a chance.
Kamala's campaigning with warmongers like Liz Cheney. How do you think that is? She picks Liz Cheney, whose father virtually destroyed the Middle East. You know, Liz Cheney, she talks big, oh, I want war. She always wants war. Every time I was with her in the White House, we should attack this nation, that nation, nations that people never even heard of, we should attack. She's a big tough guy. She sits back in Washington, oh, we ought to go and attack Iran, Iraq. We're going to attack everybody. That's why I broke up with her. All she wanted to do is go to war with everybody. These war hawks, they want to draft your kids to die in wars, and they will never fight themselves. You know, we'll stay around the country for 15 years, just bomb the hell out of everybody, make everybody miserable. Nobody knows why we're there, you know, the wars that never end. These endless wars that we've been in, I've gotten us out of so many. We don't want to get into wars. We're tired of fighting. I'm the only president in the last 84 years that didn't start a war. Under Trump, we will have no more wars. No more wars. No more wars. We will have prosperity and peace. We will have prosperity and we will have peace. Remember, I'm the president of peace. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. He's going to start a war. I said, no. My rhetoric is going to keep us out of wars. And that's what happened. My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker. We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there you heard it for yourself. Against war. The president that will never start an unnecessary war, that will not draft your children. If you go back and do the research, President Donald Trump drafted the Vietnam War 2 to 3 times. And so we have to understand something. What made this drastic change to anti-war, getting into an endless Afghanistan or Vietnam, or getting into a war that we cannot finish? This is what we need to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. This war can end in disaster. It can end good, or it can go on forever. But let's look at the criteria here. You're dealing with a predominant Muslim nation. And yes, the society, the population, they want to stay free. We have upwards of 8,000 missiles the Iranians have that they will fire off from strategic hidden locations that can use cluster ammunition that can be an immense nightmare. And not only that, Venezuela was a different story. You had one big, huge political leader versus a governing board of mullahs and religious zealots and ideologues when it comes to Islam. And so it's not a one-person decision per se. It is a multifaceted, complex religious institution and a theocracy that runs that entire country. And what disturbs me in talking to people is they say things like, we're bombing the hell out of them. Just get rid of them. We're going to knock this thing out in 2 to 3 years. And Americans seem to frustrate me and people around the world because they basically count their history in almost 24-hour increments and fail to understand and take lessons from the past. And this bothers me immensely, ladies and gentlemen. Why are people not taking this seriously? Why are they not understanding that war comes with a cost? Go outside right now. Drive around the corner and try to fill up your vehicle. $5 a gallon. And listen, as an independent that's voted Republican and Democrat, I don't want to hear about Joe Biden anymore. I am sick of it. Joe Biden has nothing to do with this current presidency right now. Many of you might be watching, the thousands of viewers. I'm sure some of you are screaming at me right now. Yes, it does. Listen, when I get into a new relationship, I don't live in the past. You know what they say in psychology? When you take the bricks of the past and you move into a new relationship and bring them along, you build the same house. You got to let it go. You got to move on. You have to do something different. Now, they said, the Iranians at RGC, that they will mine the entire strait. They will start blowing up ships. And these ships, these cargo ships, these freights, these oil tankers cannot even get insured anymore, ladies and gentlemen. So we are dealing with a tenuous situation right now. And the last thing we need on American soil is lone wolves acting out and creating mass casualties because they're so anti-American and hate Americans so much. And it's very hard to get control of that situation. Last thing I want to deal with when I'm at Walmart is someone blows up a bomb in Walmart, or someone does a mass killing in a Target, or runs into a church. And I'm a pastor in a church. And I'm always armed so I can protect myself. I obey and follow all the laws. But what I'm saying is, for the first time in American history that I can recall, at 46, is I'm not comfortable where things are going. I'm not comfortable traveling overseas right now. 40% of Americans won't even confess they're Americans when they're in a country outside the United States of America. There's a problem with that. So what is happening with this anti-war president? Monument building, name building, putting his name on currency. It's almost like there's an element of psychological fear that he's scared that history is going to forget about him. Listen, history doesn't forget about any president, but this kind of history is not good. Don't get me wrong. I'm praying for success. I hope that we come out of this ahead. I hope that we win. But the alienation around the world, the insults to everyone that disagrees, it's not Christian-like at all. And it doesn't align with my Christian gospel in any way, shape, or form. So I want you, the viewers right now, to understand that tumultuous times and adversity are ahead of the American people. Because once we destroy that whole place, it does not mean it's over. We are truly going to have to wait and see what happens. But let's look at the gas prices. Let's focus on the Strait of Hormuz, and let's see what's going on right now and what the projection of the economy has to do with economically when it comes to fuel prices. I only got one question, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready?
That critical passageway for the world's oil supply. A London-based maritime intelligence service recently shared data with NBC News. It found Iran is forcing some oil tankers to pay millions of dollars to travel through a new narrow passage in the strait, which is controlled by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard. NBC News international correspondent Raf Sanchez joins us now from Doha, Qatar, with more on that. Raf, good morning.
Joe, good morning. Only a trickle of ships is making it through the Strait of Hormuz right now, down around 90% on pre-war traffic. But we're learning that those ships that are passing through are being diverted onto a new route controlled by Iran, and some are being charged a toll to transit. It's being called the world's most dangerous toll booth. The only tankers passing through the Strait of Hormuz are being forced into a new route controlled by Iran, with some charged millions of dollars to transit.
It's sort of been dubbed the Tehran toll booth.
That's according to data from Lloyd's List Intelligence, a maritime firm shared with NBC News. Before the war, around 110 ships passed the strait each day. Now, it's 10 ships or fewer. Peacetime routes looked like this, with vessels sailing down the middle of the strait. Now, they're taking this new route through Iran's territorial waters, squeezed between these islands and close to Iran's main naval base.
Whatever we can detect going out of the strait right now is going through this narrow channel in Iranian territorial waters, where the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps essentially verifies the ship's information and acts as almost like a toll booth.
This footage, verified by NBC News, was taken by a sailor on a Chinese tanker as it passed between the islands. In a few days, American soldiers might come here, he says. This might be the main fighting spot. Iranian lawmakers have discussed charging ships $2 million to pass the strait, saying the money would pay to repair wartime damage. That doesn't seem to be official policy yet, but Lloyd's List says at least 2 ships have been charged so far. Is the implied threat that if ships don't use this so-called toll booth, they'll be attacked by Iran?
I think so. I think that is very much the implication.
It's not an empty threat. At least 18 ships have already been attacked in and around the strait, according to the UN. Iran is on the other side of the Persian Gulf, but on this side, there's real concern among Arab countries. Iran may try to continue controlling the strait even after the war. In a letter to the UN, Iran says the strait is open to non-hostile vessels, but only in coordination with Iranian authorities. That's a major shift from the pre-war norm, when tankers passed freely, and suggests the toll booth may be here for some time to come. And when we talk about Iran trying to cement its long-term control over the strait, one of their demands for ending the war is that the rest of the world recognize Iranian sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz. That is likely to be a non-starter for the U.S. and for Arab nations here in the Gulf.
So there you see it, ladies and gentlemen. They are charging tankers millions of dollars by the day. And even though they haven't officially closed the strait militarily, what they're saying is, if you come through here, we're going to blow your ship apart. That correlation is having a direct effect to gas prices. And we know as Americans, we live paycheck to paycheck, most of us. Let me give you an explanation. For a person to make right around $104,000 a year, they have to make right around $50 an hour at a 40-hour work week. 19% of Americans only make 6 figures. So when in a household with a couple children, with a wife, with bills, with expenses, with combined incomes of marginally exceeding $100,000 a year, Americans are drastically struggling. This is most of the economy. 200,000, 250 gross does not go very far in this day and age. Not only you have to worry about gas, you have to worry about produce, you have to worry about food. Everything being touched right now has to do with petroleum, from plastics to food to cargoes to jet fuel to truckers. So we are going to be severely impacted at the dinner table. And this doesn't only mean Fuel prices, ladies and gentlemen. What about the loss of life when it comes to American soldiers? The American soldiers that are going to be maimed, injured, killed. This is not good. This is not good what is going on right now. And there is a huge debate within Congress is, did Iran really pose that much of a significant threat? Because when we bombed their nuclear facilities with B bombers, right? B-52 bombers, that should have took care of the problem initially. So is this something more? Is it more of a personal grudge? People are asking these questions. Personally, I don't believe Donald Trump is very popular right now. We are but we are in an existential political crisis right now. Americans are sitting back saying, who do I trust anymore? Who do I elect anymore? It seems like so many politicians are bending the truth line and telling us what we want to hear. And the worst thing about it, on the far right, is they use God. They use God in every aspect to promote their ideology, like their ideology is being sanctioned by God. And the far left, the far super uber progressives will strip God out of everything. And now we are wondering how judgment isn't going to fall in the United States of America. And that is not what I want. So we can't align politics with biblical prophecy. And there are those out there that are doing a horrible job in misconstruing the Bible and using eisegesis to interpret this situation. Look at the situation, what happened with Tucker Carlson and Huckabee. He says, take the whole damn Middle East, take the whole damn thing. This is insane political propaganda. It's madness. You cannot hold a newspaper in one hand and try to use predictive prophecy in the other hand. John Nelson Darby was ran out of the country for what he did, especially when reference in respect to the book of Revelations. It's absolute complete madness. And a lot of these individuals try to dictate political policy on bad theology and heretical teaching in their churches a lot of the times. And a lot of these politicians hold that ideology and this dispensationalism in their methodology to apply to political foreign policy, which is a complete disaster. Hey, I'm all for protecting America. I'm all for strengthening our military. I'm all for conservative values and rights. But this is not what this is about right now, ladies and gentlemen. What is happening? We have Cuba situation going on, Venezuela, and not only that, we have cartels. So we have a multi-pronged situation, what's going on right now, and our military and our resources, including Ukraine supplying Zelensky, can be stretched thin. I'll tell you the truth right now, I'm worried as an American. I don't have the superiority complex. I don't idolize any politician that they're my God. And I don't believe that there are no such thing as unintended consequences. We need to be careful moving forward. There needs to be advisors advising President Donald Trump on what to do right to provide a realistic military assessment and logistics and operations. And right now we're getting told so many lies on every side. Iran, we're not having dialogue with the United States. Trump, they're going to give us the greatest gift ever. I can't believe any of them. If I had a wife that acted like that, I'd be headed to divorce court, ladies and gentlemen. So let's talk about the cartels and what is going on with the cartels right now. I only have one question, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready?
Greg Abbott is directing Texas DPS to expand operations along the border. This after a wave of violence erupted in Mexico after the Mexican military killed the cartel boss known as El Mencho. Several dozens of people were killed in the attempt to capture him and the violence that followed. His death setting off several hours of unrest, with vehicles being set on fire throughout the area. That led to a number of roadblocks, which is considered a common tactic used by cartels to block military operations. Now, the violence is leaving many tourists from San Antonio, like Blanco Abud, in a scary situation, having a shelter in place at their vacation destination.
And they don't know when they'll be able to return home. News 4 San Antonio's Karina Hollingsworth is live with a story of a San Antonio woman who's caught in the middle of the violence.
Mandy, Jonathan, the killing of El Mancho has caused widespread unrest, and it has left many travelers wondering when they will be able to return home, as they've been ordered to shelter in place. One of those travelers is Blanca Abud from San Antonio. She told News 4 that she travels to Mexico at least once a year. Abud says that the hotel she is staying at was near the violence, and she saw a lot of the fires that had been set over the weekend. She said today it was a lot calmer, and she is anxiously trying to get back home.
We can't get to the airport because the city is closed and the roads are closed. And there's only one road that takes you to the airport. Now, once we get on that road, it actually takes you through the violence. It takes you right through there. So that's another now putting ourselves in danger.
Abud says she is hoping to fly home tomorrow as things are starting to calm down, and U.S. officials are urging anyone planning to travel to Mexico to do so carefully. Reporting live for News 4 San Antonio, I'm Karina Hollingsworth.
Karina, thank you so much for that. Continuing our team coverage, Melissa Vega is standing by with just how many people have died and what's happening there now. Mel.
Well, we are getting some new video coming into our newsroom right now. We want to show you some of that aftermath of the burned out cars after the violence of killing that cartel leader El Mencho. This is in Puerto Vallarta. Tonight, we are learning at least 73 people have died during the attempt to capture El Mencho. And after, also want to show you, this is new video of Mexican armed forces outside a federal forensic center in Mexico City, where authorities are confirming El Mencho's death. Forensic testing was carried out to verify his identity. And as we take a live look from the White House right now, the White House confirming the United States provided intelligence support for the operation, praising Mexican forces for targeting one of the most wanted drug traffickers. Mexican authorities now reporting more than 250 cartel roadblocks across 20 states have been cleared. Also want to show you this. The U.S. State Department reporting just a short time ago that multiple airlines are operating from Guadalajara and Puerto Vallarta. And while there is some relief that a major cartel leader is gone, there are growing fears that the violence may be far from over. That is the latest from the Life Desk.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have significant problems right now in this country. We have a situation going on in Mexico. Who knows where that's going to end up with the cartels? What's going to happen? They're not a centralized group that's easy to get a hold of. A vast network spreading through Mexico, Colombia, ties with China, ties with Russia, sneaking arms in. This is a very, very new, dangerous world. Donald J. Trump has his work cut out for him. My fear is he's not letting those who have knowledge, vast knowledge, on the right, the left, even in between, help him to become successful in the United States of America. We're going to need to pull all our resources together as Americans and work together. We're entering a new world, and if America chooses isolationism, I do not know how successful we're going to be. From Hegseth's comments on just blowing the hell out of everything, I do not know how that is typically going to work. We can enter a point of no return if we keep bombing Iran. And not only that, it has been confirmed that Russia will aid Iran with intelligence, with finances, with drones, with resources to destroy as many American lives as Putin can. North Korea has came out Kim Jong-un said they will never, ever denuclearize, that he will build more nukes, and told America that he will fire them off and basically in the world without any problem whatsoever. Listen, we can't take everybody. Sooner or later, we're going to have to use our common sense and choose and decide what wars we truly want to get into. America's not ready for a Vietnam. America's not ready for an Afghanistan. America's not ready. The world is not ready for a World War III. Well, Pastor Joshua, what side are you on? I'm on the American side. I don't want to go to war. I don't like war. I don't want people to die. I don't like unnecessary war. So we're going to keep our eyes on what's going on with the ground troops, what's going on with the Strait of Hormuz, what's going on with the cartels. Everybody, support the show. Watch it on the podcast, on video. I'm on Apple. I'm everywhere. Until we meet again, this is Joshua Capilla with the Patriot News Hour. God bless you all.